Hey everyone, welcome to the Tiny Chats podcast. I'm your host Kristen, and today I'm here with one of my best friends, Maddy. Say hi.
Hi, I'm Maddy.
So Maddy and I have been traveling together on and off, but mostly on, for like 2 years now. We kind of broke it down the other day for a friend. And so a lot of what we're going to talk today about is, and this is like, we haven't really discussed it too much, so this is going to be a very impromptu, I don't know if that's the right word, conversation, a very natural conversation, but we're going to talk a lot about caravanning and maybe just some tips and tricks that we have for long-term caravanning, because we both travel solo, but together.
Right. So in our vans together.
Yeah, so grab a drink or whatever you'd like and join us for this conversation. All right, Maddy, go ahead and tell the people a little bit about you. Who are you?
Okay, I'm from Minnesota. I've been living in this van with my two dogs for almost 2 years now.
So Maddy, we're like so close. Sometimes I feel like I could tell Maddy's life story, but Maddy originally was just gonna do a year trip.
Yeah. I mean, I had been working in corporate my whole adult life. Decided I could not stand that any longer and was gonna switch up my life and take a big turn. So my original plan, was to do van life for exactly 1 year and then go to school the next fall, like right after that 1 year point.
Yeah. And then basically you met me and everything changed.
Partially, yes. I mean, no, but really. So part of it is that the first thing I learned being on the road was just how much slower you have to go than you think you do. I had this whole route planned out. I was going to see the whole country in a year, and then after doing it for 2 days, I understood that's a joke.
Yeah, not possible.
Toss that out. But then, I did also think, for that year that I was just going to be alone.
Yeah.
And I could not have been more wrong. I mean, I had only been in my van, I think 3 weeks before I met you.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. So, I mean, if I really were alone, maybe a year would have been the limit. 'Cause that's a long time to be without community, but I've got more community than I know what to do with.
I know, isn't that crazy? Sometimes it's funny to me when people are like, "Aren't you lonely?" Because I'm like, I have actually never been more in community than with van life. Van life has brought me together with so many people, and also queer van life has brought me even closer.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's almost like you just instantly have so much in common with someone just because you live in a van.
Yes. And we've, for sure, just people who have chosen the nomadic lifestyle have already thought about how to live life a little differently. So you have that in common. But then, you had that layer of queerness on top of it. Both of those things just kind of put you at a different baseline. And you have this just kind of immediate sense of understanding of each other.
For sure. Yeah, no, I definitely feel that way. I'm trying to think, though. I don't know if I knew you were queer when we first met.
I think that we talked about it pretty early on.
Did we?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But, again, it's kind of like one of those things that I've just known you for so long, so I forget, when I knew these things about you. But, yeah, no, so our first year together, we basically traveled all around the Pacific Northwest down to, Utah?
Yeah, Zion.
Yeah, Zion. And then Maddy and I most recently did Baja together. So, I think a lot of people, when they hear about, how much time we've spent together, they're like, oh my gosh, how do you do it? And I don't know, I kind of think, my biggest thing with traveling you is, we just truly respect each other. And we are pretty upfront about things when they bother us.
Yeah.
We don't let things fester. We might marinate on things a little bit. I don't know if that I would consider marinating the same as festering.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think we sit there and I think festering has more ill feeling. You know,
Yeah.
like, I don't think we're ever sitting there, like, stewing at each other, like, angry.
Right.
Like, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, we've definitely had disagreements, and we've had moments where we've been upset with each other.
Yes.
But I remember one time, it was when I had just started dating a woman for the first time, and you sat down with me and let me know, like, you were feeling like your feelings were hurt, that, like, maybe I was distancing myself or, like, didn't want to, like, hang out. And, yeah, I felt like that was really great for us because we talked about that. We were able to, like, communicate and move past it.
Yeah, and I think that conversation went really well, and I don't think I came into it with, like, I'm mad at you, you did this and this. It was
no,
like,
totally.
I just feel like I try to be transparent with you about my feelings, and we work through stuff. And like, the only, what?
I was going to just say, we always joke that we're in a relationship because...
But really, when you travel that much together, you have to have good communication, and, like, living this way on the road, you see people at their absolute best and absolute worst. Like, and there are very high stress moments, and I think the only times when we've ever, like, kind of snapped at each other has been when it's been a really
high stress,
stressful moment, but we right after that are like, hey, sorry.
Yeah.
And we're like understand that it was just stress in the moment, and, like,
totally. And the most recent, like, that I can think of is when we went to Agua Verde, and you were very stressed out, but I didn't take that personal because I knew that was the drive. Like, I knew, and I guess that's part of knowing you. Had I not known you, maybe I would have taken that personal.
Just for context, it was, like, the worst drive we've ever been on, and the worst road in Mexico.
It was
terrifying. And, like, 2.5 hours we were on this. We didn't know it was going to be that long, so by the end of it, I was just, like, afraid nerve.
And of course, the guy who was, like, told us to come on this, he was like, oh, it's such a beautiful, like, road. It's so nice. Like, yeah, it's a little, like, it's a back road, but we did not know the level of difficulty. It's by far the
near
worst
death
road.
Hairpin turns on a terrible road,
potholes,
sheer cliffs.
You're, like, going like this, like
over a cliffside.
Yeah, it's just. And Maddy's van, you're 24 feet.
Yeah,
24 feet. I'm 19 feet for context. And while a 5-foot difference may not sound that big of a difference, no, it's significant.
It's a lot.
It is, especially if you're doing hairpin turns. So, yeah, we've definitely, that was a very high stress moment. And I knew, I was, like, almost nervous to approach you once we got to the beach. Because I was like, I could literally feel your energy, like, radiating through the vans.
Yeah.
Because at one point we pulled over to, like, view, like, soak in the view. And Maddy was like,
I just sat
no. I was like, okay.
Yeah. But
But I gave you your space. You parked away because you needed that space, which I think the other thing that we don't ever really, like, take personal is needing space.
Yes.
And we do a good job of giving that to each other.
Oh, yeah. And I think it's a little different than, like, being roommates because you're not sharing your living space.
Yeah.
Like, we go out and do stuff together. You know, we eat together pretty frequently, but, like...
All right, so in true Kristen fashion, it would not be a podcast of mine if something didn't go wrong. I ran out of storage space on my recording device. Love that. So we were talking for like 5 minutes and nothing was being recorded, which is so much fun. So, anyways, we're going to try to just kind of jump back to where we were. I know we were talking about we're really good at giving each other space, and that's something that's, like, really important when traveling. And then we started to touch on, like, in Baja, how when we were traveling there together, we saw a lot of people that were in, like, these big groups. And so, like, every now and then we get into groups, but for the most part, we do keep it just the two of us. And we've caravanned with people before in, like, maybe not long extended, maybe a week is possibly the longest. Although when we first met, we were traveling with a third person, and we traveled about 6 months with them as well. But in Baja, we just saw, like, these, like, massive groups
of, like, 12 rigs.
It was so much.
I don't know how you're coordinating that many people, because I think it's hard enough with like 5 people.
Yeah, and I remember when we were like trying to plan Baja, we actually wanted more people to come with us, and we were kind of bummed that a few people like backed out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we were kind of leaning along the lines of safety, like strength in numbers, but actually I think navigating Baja is a lot harder in bigger groups. A lot harder. Like, there was a time when we were at, what beach was that you said?
Pichilingue.
And you said they took over the...
Yeah, they took over the whole beach and we couldn't even park there.
Yeah.
Because this one group that was caravanning.
Yeah.
Was all there.
Yeah.
It just sounds real exhausting. And, like, we did caravan with 2 or 3 other vans at various points throughout Baja, but not for more than a few days.
No.
It's just easier when you have a smaller group.
Yes, like we're only having to worry about 2 rigs parking on, especially when you're like in Baja on a free beach. You know, maybe if you're like in the U.S. on public land, like Arizona, there's so much public land and you have just like acres and acres and acres. Like, that's different than a small beach in Baja. And so just to put this out there, if you're planning Baja, I highly recommend you keeping it under, max 4 rigs. Max. But I would say find your one person, your one other van, and like stick with that, because it's just so much easier. Then you get into like conflicting like multiple different personalities to try to manage. It's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah, and I know previously we kind of like discussed, this part was recorded, about going to Agua Verde. But I think just in general, we do a really good job of making sure, like, if we need that space, or we're just having like a lazy day, like last night, we were going to have a fire, and then we were kind of like,
kind of just want to get in my bed and be alone. And we're really good about that. Yeah, like, you being in separate rigs, you do have your own home and space, and while we do a lot together, we don't take it personally if either of us like goes in our van and shuts the door and just wants to be alone for a while. Like, that's totally fine, and like, we both like a lot of alone time.
And I'm not gonna say that things don't ever get like taken. Like, I know like last week I got in my feels slightly because I wanted to go to this place, and the group that we were with, this is a group situation. I was the only one that wanted to go to this place, which I still don't understand. It's fine. Y'all missed out. It was amazing. It was the wildflowers.
It looked amazing. People were just burnt out and wanted to go sit in the desert.
I mean, I get it. Yeah. I do. But in that moment, I was just like already in my feels. I had like just started my period, so I was like hyper. Like, I personally feel like I get a little bit more emotional on my period, or sensitive.
Sure.
Some people don't. I do. So I felt that way, like heightened emotions anyways. So I was like, it's fine. You all hate me.
I know. But like, we talked about it, and I saw you later that day and checked in with you, and like, we're good about that too. Just like checking in. Are we good?
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like traveling with you has prepared me for a relationship.
Yeah.
For like healthy communication.
Yeah.
Especially because it is like a friendship, and so like, don't get me wrong, I care about a romantic relationship deeply to like be able to figure shit out, but it's like, I don't know, when you're in small spaces, you're caravanning together, and it's like, I can't just like hang up on you and not call you back. We're parked next to each other. Yeah. We're in the middle of nowhere. We're the only people we have to talk to. Yeah. So you kind of like, I feel like I have developed better, healthy communication habits caravanning with you, and I really just noticed that.
That's nice.
That is nice.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, look at us.
Crushing it. And we've talked about this too, how a lot of people just don't give friendships the same level of care that they do romantic relationships. And I think that's a mistake.
I think so too.
And how many people do we know, including ourselves, who've gone through like friend breakups that have been just as devastating, if not more so, than romantic relationships? but nobody talks about that or gives it the same space.
Yeah. I think the hardest breakup I've ever been through has been with my, like, ex-best friend.
Yeah.
Like, that to this day still impacts me.
Right.
More so than any other, like, romantic relationship I've ever been in.
Yeah. I would say the same.
Yeah.
So, like, why would we not put in that same level of effort and work into communicating with our friends?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're out here crushing it.
Yeah. Friend goals.
Yeah. So, before my camera so rudely cut us off, one thing that you had brought up that I think is true, and I'll let you kind of like take this conversation, but you had mentioned that one thing we're really good at is, or that helps with us caravanning is that we like a lot of the same things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the same things are like important to us in travel.
Yeah.
We both love hiking
Mm-hmm.
and like water, getting on the water.
Although you're not as much of a morning person as I am, but
No.
you're willing to do it.
Yes. You are much more of a morning person, and you force me to get up at the ass crack of dawn.
Yes.
But it's always worth it.
Because
We're the only ones on the trail.
That's right.
We beat everyone there. But I appreciate that, though. I am not a morning person, and if it weren't for you, I wouldn't be getting up
yeah,
to go do that. But I can do it when I need to.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
totally.
But yeah, I think we kind of have the same pace of travel. Like to have just down days of rest and doing nothing, which I think is important, and a lot of nomadic people
Yes.
forget to prioritize.
Yes, like a lot of people in the beginning make the mistake, which I would say almost everyone makes this mistake, of going so hard.
Yeah.
You're like first 6 months that you totally crash because it feels more of like you're in vacation mode rather than like, oh, this is my life.
Yeah. Right.
Like, so I know my first 6 months, which honestly, if I were looking back, I saw some of the best things during those 6 months. But I was so exhausted at the end
It's
of
not
that.
sustainable.
It's not.
Like,
no.
you're
need
gonna
those
burn
days.
out on that. Yeah, I mean it's your full-time life.
Yeah.
It's not a vacation.
Yeah.
Like, you're seeing amazing shit, but you still have to
Mm-hmm.
just like in life at home, in a stationary life, you have to have days of rest where you just don't do anything.
Exactly. Yeah, and way more often than you think.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people see van life from the outside looking in as like, oh, you're always on an epic hike and like, or like just doing really cool stuff. And like, yes, we do a lot of really cool things. We have a lot of privilege to be able to like move and go where we want as long as we have the funds for the gas. Like, so there is a lot of freedom and cool shit that we do, but like there's also weeks where you're just sitting in the city, not doing shit because you're trying to maybe like recover financially from like a big like binge of doing a bunch of stuff, or you know. So van life isn't always so glamorous. There's parking tickets, like
shout out San Diego.
Yeah. That's the other thing though to consider too. A big difference between us is, and we mentioned this earlier, is Maddie's 24 feet, I'm 19 feet. I fit in a regular parking spot. Maddie can, but like you stick out. Yeah. So she's much more like susceptible to tickets than I am because you're oversized.
Yeah, mostly in cities where they
make us illegal.
Yes. So,
and
I just got a ticket in San Diego the other day, not for like living in my vehicle or parking overnight somewhere I wasn't supposed to be. It was because I was too long and didn't fit in the spot.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah, it's shitty. But back to what we were saying about like kind of compatibility of what we like and things. I think aside from just like what we like when we're traveling is that we're passionate and we believe in a lot of the same things.
Yes. Yeah, I think we share a lot of the same values.
And a very similar upbringing.
Yeah.
With yours being a little bit more extreme than mine, but we're both from very religious backgrounds. And it's funny because you grew up more aggressively Christian because you were in like the Christian schools and like it was some of the stories you tell me, I'm like, the one you told me yesterday, whoosh.
Hint, it's racist.
Yeah, it was bad.
Not me in my school.
Yeah, but Also, that just made me think, that's why I had a dream about show choir last night. I did. I had a dream about being in show choir again. Weird. Okay, that makes sense.
Because my story was about show choir.
Yeah. We will not repeat. But anyways, so it's funny because I feel like you grew up more aggressively Christian, like on the very extreme Christian, and now you're more on the atheist end of things. Mm-hmm. I grew up very Christian, but not as intense as you are, and I am not atheist. I do believe in something, but it's more of, I don't know, maybe agnostic. I don't really feel like putting a word on it. I believe in God. I'm just like, I think we're all kind of like worshiping the same thing. We just have different avenues of doing that. But even then, I don't really like practice a religion anymore. But I think even when we first met, I'm not where I am today as far as it goes on the like religious spectrum. Yeah. But we've always been able to like very much respect each other's differences on that topic and still conversate about it.
Yeah, even I would say when we first met, you were much more still Christian.
Yeah.
And believing in church a bit more in some of the like facets of Christianity. But yeah, we've always had like very good open conversations about that.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And I've never felt judged by you for like not believing or you know, for having a difference of opinion with me. So, but even still, I feel like our differences of opinions are kind of that, like opinions. Like you don't really get to have a difference of opinion when it comes to like racial injustice.
No, because although we might have different views of God or religion, spirituality, whatever, we believe in treating people the same way.
Yes.
I think that's the core of it.
Yeah, that is the core of it. Yeah, like whatever we believe, it always stems back to still being like a good person, and everyone deserves respect and their dignity and autonomy and their rights to choose for themselves whatever they want.
Right.
So, yeah, we've always been really good at that and had respectful discourse on anything.
Yep.
So, but it's interesting though, because I think we've helped each other grow in those ways. And that's why I always say like questioning things is so healthy for you. Like it's such a healthy thing to question and to like be able to like stretch your beliefs. I mean, when I first met you, you were like, I'm atheist. And like just in the past few days, like maybe weeks or whatever, I've kind of heard like I don't know what I am. And that's interesting to me because I don't necessarily, like, this is my perspective, and you can tell me I'm right or wrong. It seems like you have been around more spiritual people, and even though we kind of, like, joke about that being, like, woo-woo and whatever, I still feel like maybe you find a little bit more commonality and spirituality rather than just, like, hardcore atheism.
Yeah, I mean, I think the parts that I maybe poke fun at or have a harder time understanding is like I did see so many people come out of fundamentalist Christianity and go to more of the, I don't know what a better term is, New Age spirituality.
Yeah.
Like, and just swing from one end of the pendulum so hard to the other and like got just as intense about it. And it was like, they just had to fill that void. Like they took fundamentalist Christianity out and couldn't deal with that, like not knowing and that discomfort and had to fill it with something else. So I take issue with that, but I think I do have respect for people who use spirituality really more as a way to kind of focus on who they want to be in the world and what they want out of life and how they want to treat other people, and use it more as kind of an introspective meditative practice.
Right.
So that I can get behind. I would still say I don't believe there's any kind of like force out there.
Right.
I don't think that there's a God. I don't think there are like spirits or
right.
that the universe or energy or whatever is like powerful or does anything.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't ever want to get to a point again in my life like I was when I was a fundamentalist Christian of like, I am 100% right. Can't ask questions.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't ever want to get there. I can't ever know the absolute truth and be 100% certain about anything.
Totally.
And I think it's hubris to think that you can.
Almost a little narcissistic.
Yeah. So I feel like I say I'm 98% atheist and like 2% of me is like,
Yeah.
I don't fucking know. Who knows?
Totally.
Maybe all of it's real.
Maybe. Yeah. You just, yeah, but I just like, I like that me and you tend to be able to like, one, have those conversations, but that like we hear people out and like we listen to it and like, that's something that, yeah, I've always appreciated about you. It's just that like our like openness to be able to dialogue with amongst each other and amongst others.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this group of people we've been hanging out with lately more, who most of them are very much into more of those spiritual practices. I was honest, like, that's hard for me, and that triggers something in me of like something mistrustful.
Totally.
And that I was having a hard time being open to that, but that I wanted to be open and get better at that and like at least be honest with them about where I was at. And
it's funny, I feel like our Christian triggers, we have a lot of the same. Yours are a little bit more extreme than mine, and you have some that are different, but like even the other night when we were sitting around the campfire and Kevin was playing the guitar, I was like, church camp vibes. Church camp. Yep. I will never not sit at a campfire with a guitar and not think of church camp.
Yeah.
Our God is an awesome God, He reigns.
Yeah.
That's on religious drama. So, Maddy and I are by no means experts on caravanning, but I do feel like the 2 years off and on with like a few months breaks for like holidays, and then when Bear passed, we spent some time apart, but even still, it was maybe 3 months.
At the most.
Yeah. I think if collectively, if we added up all the months, we're probably looking at like 15 months that we've traveled together, which is a lot.
I think that's pretty unusual.
It's very unusual.
Don't usually do that.
I mean, unless you're traveling with your like partner.
Yeah.
That's why we always joke that we're sister wives. Because basically. Yeah. Or van wives.
Yeah.
Because,
I call you my van wife.
Yeah. Sister wives was from somebody making fun of us. So we don't.
I think I was saying I'm your and Carolee's sister wife.
That's it. Yes. Yes. Yeah. And we're just going to bring Maddy in with us. We'll just be a little trio. Even though, like, and Maddy and I have had conversations about this, but, like, it is going to be a change coming.
Yeah.
Of us kind of, bringing in a romantic partner. I mean, we kind of got a taste of that in Baja. And I remember us having that conversation of, like, I was like, is this going to bother you? Like, and you didn't think it would, but I think it did.
It did. Well, I told you one day. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that we were able to like have that open conversation about it.
Yeah, that's the thing. We talk about shit.
Yeah, we do. We don't let things fester. No. Yeah.
And once you address something, it gets better and you can move on. Like
literally, it's like just like a weight, like a veil or something. I don't know. It just falls off.
Yeah.
And
after we one day in Baja, it was kind of getting to me. I was feeling like a third wheel, and like it's a transition. It's been you and me for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's just different.
Yeah.
And
well, even like I kind of got a weird taste of like you being with other people when you went to that all women's event 2 weeks ago now, maybe 3. I kept saying like, oh, FOMO, and I was so jealous. Like I was like, Maddy is making all these really deep connections with some really incredible women. Like I am jealous. I want to be there. I want to be part of this. However, a part of me also was like taking a step back, and I was like, fuck, I'm like really happy for you.
I think right before I went on that, we had had a conversation where I was just acknowledging the big change coming with Carolee moving in with you and us probably not being together. all the time anymore. We still have plans to travel together
Yeah.
this summer and whatever, but
Totally.
it won't be as much. And that I was just grieving that change a little bit. Not that it's bad. No one did anything wrong. It's just a transition.
Yeah.
And I think that women's meetup and me going and meeting those people, like, happened at the perfect time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think I was feeling a little not lost. Like, I wouldn't say we're, like, codependent. I don't think that's it at all.
No, but it's a comfort.
Yeah, we're a little bit each other's comfort zone. And
Yeah.
so I think I was feeling kind of like, I don't know what's next. And then to see that I could go out there without you and, like, have a meaningful time and make new relationships, like, I needed that to happen.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, and I was able to recognize that. And so, like, I was, like, happy for you, jealous at the same time.
Of course, I wish you would have been there, and it still would have been good if you were there.
Totally. However, because we are each other's comfort, I think sometimes, not always, but sometimes in group settings, like, we do kind of, like, come back to each other. Mm-hmm. Or maybe we just don't, like, seek out that intentional time with other people as deeply. Like, maybe it is easier to miss the deeper connections that could be because we, you know, might just be like, let's go back and play cards or whatever. Because we are both more a little introverted and we like our, like, quiet time, and we're kind of like old souls a little bit.
Yep. Right.
Except for when we drink. I don't remember if that part got cut off or not.
Oh, I think it did, actually.
It did. Oh, so that might not make sense, but we joked. Maddy and I, the only point when we're caravanning and when we don't, or just in our friendship, where we're incompatible. And let me preface this by saying, anytime we drink, we make sure that we are not moving, we are not driving at the end of the night. But the only time we're incompatible is when we're drinking and we get to the level that's just past tipsy, and Maddy's like, let's go! And I am like,
and you're like,
time for bed.
I'm going to sleep. So we like rise together, and then just
yes. And then I'm like, good night.
And it's frustrating for both of us.
It's very frustrating. So I'm like, Maddy, I'm ready to go. And she's
I'm
like, I am not leaving.
I need you to rally.
And I'm like, rally for bed.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Anywho. But regardless, I'm excited for, like, what this next chapter has for you and for me. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I agree with that kind of grieving. You know, I've thought a lot about it too, like, where I know things are going to change. And just different for me, like, having someone physically in my space versus like being able to say, like, good night, like, see ya, and have our alone time, which is what I'm used to.
Yeah.
It's going to be a change for sure. Yeah. And even, like, you said something about, like, I don't think it's necessarily codependency. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I think there might be a little bit on my end, because sometimes, like, when you're not there, like, so when Carolee left and then you were at the women's event and I was in San Diego alone, I was like, what do I do?
Yeah. I mean, I think you get used to having someone around, and, like, but part of what I like about traveling with you all the time is, like, I like having someone to make decisions with.
Yeah.
Because there are so many little decisions you have to make all the time with van life. Helps to bounce ideas off of each other. It feels like it takes a little bit of the pressure off. And I also, we didn't talk about this, I feel so much more relaxed when we're together. Like, I just feel like when I'm solo, I'm always on alert more than I am when I'm with you. Particularly, like, at night.
Yeah.
So I feel like I let my guard down a bit more and relax a bit more. Not that we're not aware of our surroundings. And whatever,
for sure.
But
that's
I definitely have a more, like, heightened, a little more of anxiety.
Yeah.
When I'm on my own. But yeah, I think it helps to just, like, bounce things off somebody and, like, plans together.
I totally agree. Yeah. And even just sometimes it's like, I don't want to figure it out. You figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, type of thing. I'm like, I don't know, Maddy, you find the place.
Yeah.
And vice versa, where it's just like, sometimes you just
when
don't
you're alone, you have to make every decision.
Yeah,
on your own.
Anyways, to keep this as a tiny chat, which it's probably not at this point.
Edit it.
Tell me, like, or tell them what, if you could give any piece of advice on how to caravan successfully, whether it's like traveling or just like traveling not in a van or traveling in a van, caravanning, what piece of advice would you give?
Don't be afraid to take space for yourself. Like, and I know it's hard when there's a big group hanging out and you like have FOMO when you're not doing it, but you're gonna burn out.
Yeah, you have to protect your peace.
You have to take time, especially as introverts.
Yeah.
To recharge and get that alone time, and you're gonna enjoy your group time more.
I think if I were to give any advice, I would say like communicate and don't be afraid. And yes, we've talked a lot about that, but like try to get it off your chest as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
It's awkward and it's hard to do, but it's so important.
And I think it gets easier the more you do it.
100%.
Yeah. Just confront things head on. It's never gonna make the problem worse.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like all of my friendships that have ended poorly has been because we let things fester. We didn't communicate how we were feeling. And then there was like one thing that could have been small or like maybe medium sized, but it blew up because there was all those like underlining things.
Yeah. Right.
So, and I think that we've done a good job of making sure that the underlining shit is cleared out at all times. It's like a cache and you just clear it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do a good job at that. Honey, I think this has been my favorite episode.
Aw.
I knew it would be, so you didn't have anything to worry about.
Okay. I'm just awkward on camera, but I guess I forgot. Like,
yeah.
It's just us.
It's just us.
Talking.
So Maddy is quite the content creator. So
I post about once every 6 months, maybe.
She just kind of like reposts what I do.
Yeah, if you can find someone to caravan with who's a content creator, life hack. She puts all this fucking time into filming, getting the shots, doing the reels, picking out the music, blah, blah, blah. And I don't have to do anything. I just repost it and say, I was there too. It's perfect.
Perfect.
Why would I even try?
But one time Maddy had someone reach out to her and was like, we love your content. Like, your content is excellent. We'd love to partner with you. And she's like, yeah, from the photo a year ago. Like,
it was just that good.
It was that good. It's because I took photos. Probably. Right. That's so funny. Okay, well, regardless, tell people where they can find you.
Okay, I am _ driving out into the sun _
Yes.
on Instagram. I do post on my stories.
Yeah. And I'll tag her below. So, otherwise, a lot of the time.
But I still like to communicate with people on there and like
Instagram
keep up with friends that way.
It's a great way to connect with people when you're on the road. Yeah. That's also a life hack. Instagram.
That's how we met. Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here, Maddy.
Thanks for having me.
I love you so much.
I love you.
All right, friends, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're listening on any podcasting platform, please leave me a review. I don't have any reviews yet, and I would love a review. Please. 5 stars. That would be so greatly appreciated. Regardless, I love y'all, and I appreciate y'all so much for tuning in. See you next time, friends. Bye.
Hi, I'm Maddy. Welcome to my van. Before you come in, check out my sticker wall. I have 2 swivel seats here, which opens up the space a bit and gives me some options for entertaining. Also, it was really important to me to have plants in the van. So I put this rack in to be able to have some hanging ones. I've got succulents up in the front dash, and then these guys, and then this vine is fake, but everything else is real. I had a lot more plants than this prior to going to Baja, but on the crossing from Baja into the US, they made me throw all of them away, so I am now rebuilding my collection. This is a 12-volt fridge, and this is hollow for storage, which I use as my pantry. So these drawers in the kitchen are soft close. So this drawer is all my toiletries, toothbrush, etc. The rest of it is kitchen stuff, pots and pans down here. And then I do have this 3-burner and stove combo. This cupboard is for all of my dishes. The next two are clothes, and then the last one is all books. This is my shower. I have a Nature's Head composting toilet stored in here. And the shower's really full of sand right now, but I'm not using up water to clean that out, so this is what you get. I have 4 of these storage compartments underneath the bed. This is a queen-sized bed, and I added these baskets to store my books in, and at the back there are 2 cubbies and reading lights, which serve as kind of nightstands on either side. I have this drawer back here in my garage that's on 200-pound slides, so I have excellent storage. I have a 40-gallon water tank in there. My propane is stored here, and all of my electric is over on that side. I have 300 watts of solar panels on the roof and 200 amp hours of lithium batteries. Thanks for stopping by. Here. Remember when I was going to be the first person interviewed on your podcast? And here we are, 7 episodes later. Before you come in, what? Okay. I don't know, what am I supposed to say?
I got 2 swivel seats up here.